Hello and welcome back to the Key Arsenal podcast. It is episode 73 today. I'm your host, Matthew Key, and joining me today, we've got two lovely co-hosts. We've got Dad and Carl. How are we both doing?
We're
All
doing
very
good, thank
good.
you.
Good. Madeline can't be with us this week. Unfortunately, she's played a game of football herself. She's been with the uni. I'm told they've got a good win. So, well done, Madeline. When you listen back to this, congratulations, and we'll forgive you therefore for not being here. Another very good week. It's becoming habit, and that's becoming strange. But we're just apparently really good football nowadays. We sort of last week we were obviously happy when we beat Tottenham, but it's a game that really we expect to beat them at home. It's a fixture that normally goes along with the home team, and obviously that trend continued. But we talked about the game Sunday and how that was a sort of bigger indicator of where we really are, and well, we managed to win again. We'll obviously get into it. Dad, let's start. Let's just go with the first half to start with, because we were sitting there watching it, actually quite frustrated, especially after the early goal. We thought this could be such a brilliant day for us, but yeah, we ended up a bit frustrated by that first half, weren't we?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought that was the worst we'd played in the first half all season. And if I was honest, we've scored one goal in the first minute, and we've scored one goal in the last, and in between there wasn't much else apart from maybe the first 5-6 minutes. So yeah, it was a bit strange. We seemed to be giving the ball away a lot. I think you and I were talking, and Thomas Partey, and I think he just kept giving the ball away, and then Saka did not seem to be in the game, but somehow we ended up 2-1 up at half time. So maybe we'd learnt a bit of efficiency.
Yeah, Cole, you agree with that? What me and Dad just said, that frustrating first half and worrying, because obviously normally the first half is where we do a lot of our damage and almost go into half time with the game over. At least that's been some of our better performances this season.
Yeah, we went 1-0 up, obviously really early on, and it gradually over the next 15 minutes we gave over our ownership of the game, and Liverpool took it. And to be fair to them, when they equalised, wasn't the biggest surprise, was it? You know, they could have had, I think it was before then, the handball by Gabriel, which let's say I've seen them given. So yeah, I thought going in at half time 1-1, I thought that would be a touch. The fact that we scored in the last minute beforehand from an awful foul, actually, by Odegaard, I've got to say. It was a bonus, a big bonus that I never expected. The fact that Gabriel got himself out of the way because he probably would have managed to cock it up if he hadn't got out of the way, so that Saka could put it in the back of the net. It was the right touch. I thought, yeah, I'd probably say it's the worst 45 I've seen this season. A mate of mine texted me and said, "Oh, this just shows us how limited we are." I responded straight away, just saying, "I just think we played rubbish, as opposed to Liverpool played well." I didn't think, having said what I just said, they didn't have that many chances. So, yeah, the way it is, isn't it? Sometimes you ride your luck, but we did.
In fairness, Carl, you're right. They didn't actually. You didn't see Ramsdale leaping about. Excuse me, making a series of phenomenal saves. It might have had more to do if their new centre forward had actually spent some time onside instead of being permanently parked offside. So
too busy weeping at the crowd. knob. Yeah. Any Arsenal supporter who sees him over the next 6 years should go up to him and give it that. If you can remember what he looks like, because I can't for the life of me already.
All you need to know is he's got a soppy haircut.
And he's
He's got a bad trim. But yeah, you're right in terms of Liverpool didn't create any chances, but what they did do was they somehow stopped us playing, and you would have to say had control of that first half.
Yep.
So, is that something for us to maybe worry about going forward, or is that just us having to sort of recognise that although they've not been playing that well and they're not where they would expect to be and where most people would expect them to be at this point of the season, they're still a very good football team.
Yeah, there's two things there. We've had 10 years of getting battered by them, roughly, something like that. So if you don't think that's psychological, then you're mad, because that is obviously going to be in there. And was we intimidated? Do I think we was intimidated? I think we probably were. Having spoke to a few Liverpool fans since, they think that's the best they've played all season. So that's kind of nice to hear. Because they had no response in the second half. Let's put it that way. So,
yeah, I would go along with you, Carl. I think psychological damage or the psychology last season, wherever we played them 4 times, we didn't score. We got, I'm going to say, battered at home. It was one of them games last year at home where the superiority of Liverpool over us probably wasn't reflected in the score, even though we'd lost 3-0. It was, the proverbial dad or the much bigger brother holding the kid at arm's length going, come on in, get the ball. And we couldn't get near it. And I do think, looking at it, that probably had something to do with the way we played, because Thiago is a very, very good footballer, can spray a ball about, and we were standing off him. And Jordan Henderson, you're not going to say he's the world's greatest footballer, but he knows how to get around the pitch and he knows what to do.
Very committed.
Yeah, he gets around the pitch. He's quite a good leader, and those two were making it look very easy. Anybody who listens to this knows I'm a Martin Odegaard fan, but if I'm saying to you, other than the pass in the first minute, how many times was he actually on the ball?
Not very often.
Not very often. And, credit where credit's due, they were very good. Me and Matthew always joke about it and go, Trent, whatever his name is, he'll have his best 45 minutes, 90 minutes against us. You always know Firmino is going to score against us. Jota's got a very good record against us. You sit there and you go, at some point, Salah's going to come good. Thankfully, it wasn't this week, but
hopefully it's tonight, because I've put a bet on him to score.
So yeah, just on that. I mean, we just mentioned some good Liverpool players there. Thiago, I've seen snails get back quicker from that free kick in the 5th minute of injury time. That was dreadful by him. He got passed by about half a dozen players, some of his own, some Arsenal players, and that was dreadful. And Alexander-Arnold's defending, more so for the second goal, was appalling. I'm sorry, but I mean, I don't want to. I don't really care. I'm glad he did. It was appalling, but I watched it and there was even I went no when he started running across. It was just stupid. What are you doing? I mean, okay, it's Gabriel in the middle. He's in effect leaving Gabriel, but the defender behind then has to move in, has to follow him. So he's pushed across and left Saka free. Terrible defending. But hey,
he's a strange one, isn't he? Because when obviously he's not playing at the minute, but whenever United concede a goal and Maguire's when Maguire's playing, everyone's looking at through a microscope. When's Maguire done something wrong? When's he taken a wrong step or something like that? Another same's happening with Trent. but he's just at fault every single time. It's genuinely
It
incredible. His
It-
positioning is so poor.
It was
And
appalling.
I don't care that he might be slightly injured. He was coming off anyway because he got absolutely torn.
It was a Nuno Tavares moment for him, weren't it? Let's be honest about it.
Actually, it's a very good comparison. He looked
Yeah.
brilliant going forward.
Yeah. Shame for him because he's like, what is he, 23 now?
23, 24, yeah.
Yeah, he's approaching his peak, and he shouldn't. He shouldn't have positional sense as one of his failures at this age. He should have learned that, and he's won the league. He's been in any other decade, he would have won the league 3 or 4 times by now. Yeah, but for an unbelievable City team. But his positional sense, honestly, that's just appalling. I sound like Craig Revel. It's appalling, darling. But
Funny, I can see the likeness.
Yeah, I would never notice. I don't. I mean, I see 11 players out on the pitch. I don't see the other 11 normally. But I did in this one. He stood out, and that's a shame. It shouldn't be like that. I hope it comes good for it. I really do. I genuinely hope it works for him. Not against us, obviously, that don't count. Yeah. But against everyone else, he can have a great worldie. I hope it really works for him because he seems like a decent enough kid.
Yeah. I'll agree with you, Carl.
But
and he's generally, okay, maybe not Sunday so much, but his passing and crossing normally is unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. I still think he misses and they miss, and it was the one I pointed out last week. Robinson on the other side.
Yeah,
he gives them more balance. I think the other fella's a decent player, but Robertson is different gravy.
I have to agree with you. I think Robertson not playing was a right touch for us.
Yeah.
Because Tsimikas is all right, but he got ruined by Saka a few times, and obviously Ben White when he joined in with the attacks wasn't sure what to do. But maybe I don't know. Maybe because it's been such a sort of ongoing problem for Trent, maybe he isn't putting the work in defensively. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seems strange that a player that good going forward and that good technically can't do sort of basic things that someone in his position should be able to do.
I think it's the first time. You want to go on? Sorry.
I was going to say, you just look at Reece James at Chelsea, and he just looks such a better player at the minute, just because he's clearly putting that work defensively.
I think it's the first and only time we've ever spoken about an opposition player for so long. That's for sure.
Yeah. He's an interesting one though, isn't he? Because he's just such a good technical player, but you're right. He just stood out for all the wrong reasons the other day, and you do look at sometimes you think, like as me and Dad both thought Thiago on the ball was very good the other day, but
you're quite right, Carl. Because I think Thiago, fantastic on the ball, but I must admit, running back for that goal, I think I'd have given him a good shout for his money because
I think I would have. I think even I would have. He's just with no hits. I would have done him. That was just terrible. Just showed a lack of effort. Even if it's just for show. Should have done it, but there you go.
I'm quite happy because I don't particularly like him. I don't care.
I certainly love that on Sunday.
Okay, right. Let's go through some of it then. So, first minute they played a ball over the top. It looks like could be a bit of a problem for us when Saliba's got his back to goal and someone chasing him, gets out of it superbly, finds Saka, who's not in an offside position no matter what anyone tries to say. Dad, just talk to me when Saka picks that ball up, finds Ødegaard. Talk to me about that pass.
It's the pass dreams are made of, and it's one of those strange things because if you look and you don't look at it in context, it looks a very simple pass. It just looks like a little pass between two players. A, you need to know the bloke's going to run. B, the weight of pass. so that Martinelli does not even break stride and hasn't. If he'd hit it any harder, I think the keeper would have got it. If you didn't hit it as hard, obviously he's not going to get there, or he's going to get there but have to take another touch. So the pass, absolutely fantastic. And if you wanted a moment that encapsulates him, that's it. Such a good pass. I just can't describe it. So good.
Well, that's very true as well, but also encapsulates the team and how they want to play. It starts with Saliba at the back, out wide, Saka direct running, finds Ødegaard, the sort of playmaker with Brittle, who then, Jesus drags someone away. I can't remember which one of their centre backs it was to open up the space, and then you've got Martinelli running from the other wing again, direct. Ball finds him, and he just didn't look like he was ever going to miss that, did he?
No, he didn't. You know, it was a lovely finish actually. I mean, keeper done well. He got his hand to it, but that's only because of the proximity more than anything. But he had enough power on it to get past, and not too much power so that it was going. If it hit him, it would have gone wide possibly. So it was one of them. Absolutely, he got it as sweet as you can. Really nice goal. I think Saliba was a little bit lucky with his first touch. It bounced off him a little bit. And then he made up for it with his second and third touches. It was just onside. I know there's a bit of controversy about it, but not for me. I don't know how that's happened, by the way, but it was just onside. It was really so tight. That's the sort of one you want to go with the attacking team. You know, that was always the way the rules were written over the last 30 years. You know, it's really tight. And the linesman's made the correct call, whether VAR has, I don't really care. And yeah, the pass from Ødegaard is sweet as a nut. It really is. You're right. He didn't break stride. He's got it to his right foot. And Martinelli's finished it. Little curl on it. Lovely. And low enough to go in, and not with a bit of curl as opposed to with power. Spot on.
And I can't remember how many he scored last year.
How has he got this year?
He's got 4 in the league.
Really?
And he's got.
We didn't get too many because I mean Saka and Smith Rowe were the top scorers, weren't they? With just in the double figures, I think, both of them. So
I mean, there was the only one I can really remember last year was the goal against Newcastle, where he's at some short range dinked it over the keeper. He didn't score many, but he did. In fairness, Sunday on that, he did not look like he was going to miss. It was top finish, top pass. Probably, you're right. Maybe Saliba's a bit fortunate with his first touch, but when we broke with the ball, lethal.
yeah.
In fact, if you look at Liverpool over the last few years, that's what they've done to sides.
We've done that a few times over the last season. Yeah, last year. Tottenham last year, we've done that. We've broken them with pace and power when Harry Kane assisted Saka with his goal. That was hilarious. And you think of Chelsea.
The Southampton one sticks out as well as right from the back, and
just Chelsea in the 4-2 Smith Rowe goal, which was quite a similar sort of goal actually. But there's a few of them that stick out.
Just for you, Dad, Martinelli scored 6 last year in the league.
And he scored 4 this year. Already.
6 goals, 6 assists last year, and 4 and 2 this year.
But that was he probably played. He probably
29 games.
He played
that
29.
Doesn't say how many he started or.
He probably started 20 of them, I'd guess, something like that. So, yeah, I think he's on target to beat that by a significant amount. He's going to. I've always thought he'd end up as a centre forward. I don't know. I love. He's one of them players who gets bums off seats.
Yeah.
You know, everyone gets up because they know he just drives. He drives at the defence every time. It's just exciting. He's an exciting player. He's
Let's talk about him a bit now, because I've got some players that we've picked out, but we're on him anyway. But there were so many great performances on Sunday, but he stood out so head and shoulders above everyone else. And I'm talking, there were sort of 4 or 5 exceptional individual performances.
Yeah.
And obviously I'd say with the exception of Gabriel, everyone had a good game on Sunday. But to win those sort of games, you need someone to have, or 2 people to have a special game. And as we said, he destroyed Trent in the first half. He was coming off anyway. They brought Joe Gomez on. I was a bit worried actually, because Joe Gomez got a bit of pace about him, and obviously we knew he'd be more defensively minded, but it just made no difference. And within 1 minute of the second half, he'd absolutely ripped past him as well. And you're right, Kai, just everyone out there see when if they're not ready, standing up, which obviously is normally the case these days anyway. But you're just there. You're just excited anytime he's on the ball when he's gonna take someone on. And also, you're never quite sure what he's going to do either, which also probably adds to it.
I was just about to jump in there with, you don't know what he's going to do other than he's going to drive really hard. If you've got, his Brazilian compatriot, Mr. Neymar, you know he's going to do a load of step overs somewhere and try and make you look like a right mug that way. But he's not.
He's not flashy.
And that's a good description, Cole. He's very direct. He's got this little knack. Him and Jesus have got this knack of getting really near the touchline and still being able to get in the box. I have not worked out how you.
No,
what goes on.
They've done it so many already this year. They must have done it half a dozen times.
Yep.
And it's weird. They hug the line. You think that's not right. That's not really possible because you've got no room.
Bit of a strange one. I haven't quite worked out how they do it, because they seem to be, you're not going to get anywhere. The best you're going to get out of this is a corner. And then all of a sudden they've gone past 1 or 2. So quite interesting. But he is, what is he, 21?
Ridiculous.
If you use the analogy of he's only going to get better, bear in mind he came back last year after that injury.
Yeah. Terrible injury he had. It's Smith Rowe's turn this year. Had a terrible injury and make an impact on his return, isn't it?
Yeah. and you look at it and you think, 4. I didn't know he'd scored 6 last year. Okay, he started, just about every game, I think. But and he seemed to have endless energy. I mean, I watched him Thursday night. He's tearing up and down. And you think, take him off, Arteta, because I'd like him Sunday. And he still comes out Sunday and he's still running after 90 minutes. I don't know what he eats, but clearly gives him energy. I don't know if he goes,
batteries.
Yeah, I don't know if he goes home after the game and just lies down for about 12 hours. No idea.
I think he goes to the gym. He's so dedicated. It's incredible.
It's the epitome of how if you think, just imagine a Brazilian footballer, then that's him. It's just if you what's that teleseries with the coach, the American coach, Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso, yeah.
The Brazilian in that. He just wants the ball all the time. He wants the ball. And when I first saw that Ted Lasso, I thought he's based that on Martinelli. But that's just a stereotypical Brazilian footballer. And Martinelli is that. I just want to play football. I want to play football and I want to run with it.
Yeah.
Like a Jack Russell.
Yeah.
Like a kid. It's exciting. It's what gets people off their seats, because he's exciting. Because he's so enthusiastic.
Yeah.
I don't always have days like that, but Even when he don't have days like that, he'll never quit.
No, exactly that. Okay, so we've taken an early lead, 1-0. Again, sorry, just quickly. I know we've sort of already mentioned it, but do you think we were so sort of shocked by going 1-0 up so early that also sort of affected the game plan? Or do you think it was almost so early that again it just had no impact and that's the way the game was going to go anyway?
No, I think it does have an impact. We've done this before. We've done it the last couple of seasons where we've gone 1-0 up very early, and we seem to sort of have a brain fart type moment where we just don't seem to be able to quite raise the game at that point.
It's also a bit of stick or twist, isn't it, Carl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Liverpool, to be fair, they came on to us. They were never going to defend, were they? They were never going to die for trying, to be fair to them. They were, I thought, you know, they were unlucky in the first half.
Yeah, they were probably, I would say, they were the better team in the first half by actually a decent margin.
Although they didn't have many chances. Didn't have
many chances. Which would probably bring me to player 2, wouldn't it, Matthew?
Who's player 2?
Tomiyasu. And I wasn't sure.
Well,
we saw it go, well, the whole week it was Zinchenko, Tierney, who do you go with? And you saw Tommy there and you thought, I'm surprised, but stopping Salah cutting in and making him go on the outside could turn out to be a really good move. And you've got to say it's one of the better decisions Arteta's made in his sort of tenure, and it's very Pep-like, isn't it? Very Pep-like, something no one saw coming that just turns out, and you go, yeah, it was obvious. Why did no one think of that before?
Well, I said to your dad earlier in the week, I thought Tomiyasu had an erection for the game until Salah climbed out of his pocket when he was subbed, and I realised that was what it was. It was so good a performance, and the Salah went off, and we changed formation soon afterwards.
Yep.
We actually had the players on the pitch where we could say, okay, you're going to go into you're going to be going into a back three. We could have done anything. Actually, at that point, we had so many options available to us by him starting the game.
And he was outstanding.
Yeah. Consider it, what is it, his third start of the season, I think. Third start, 2 Europa League games.
He's one of the ones where if Martinelli hadn't been playing, he'd have been man of the match easily. He was absolutely superb, and he's another one that he's just so calm, but both when he's defending and when then he gets on the ball, and his ability with 2 feet as well was just so important for that game on Sunday.
He proved that Sky bloke right, who slacked him off last year when he was joining Arsenal. Well, is he a right-sided defender? Is he centre off? His agent doesn't even know. Turns out he can play anywhere and make a mug of anyone, including him, that Sky bloke. But there you go. He's going to be listening to that for the next 20 years, whatever his name. I've forgotten his name. But yeah, he was superb, just really good. And it's frustrating because I love Tierney, and I think Tierney's a fantastic player. But wow, we've got 3 unbelievable left backs, and I didn't know we had
a 17-year-old in there.
Yeah,
who's also potentially right up there.
Is that Sousa you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's supposed to be really good as well. So I don't know how this plays out. But again, if you look at the Guardiola thing, Stones isn't picked for months, and all of a sudden he's back in. I'm hoping. Yeah. I love Tierney. Tierney's one of my favourite players at Arsenal, so I hope it works out for him.
I think it will, Cole. I mean, the other thing I'm going to say, which is the obvious, you hope we go a long way in the Europa League, make no bones, I'd love to win that Europa League. Finish in the top 3 and win the Europa League would be a fantastic season as far as I'm concerned. But you need depth to do that. That's a lot of games, Carl. And when you chuck in, I'm assuming Tomiyasu will go to the World Cup, and you chuck in, okay, Tierney will get a bit of a rest, I hope. I mean, I was going to say he'll get a tan on the trip to Dubai or wherever it is we go, but I can't imagine he'll get much of a tan because he don't look like if he stayed out there for 6 months, he'd get a bit of colour on him.
He'd stick an hanky on his head, wouldn't he? You know,
yeah.
The old knotted hanky. It just.
So I agree with you, Cole, because I love Tierney. I think Zinchenko's given us something else. They've changed the style a bit. Tierney cuts inside slightly more now than he was always running down the outside, which gives the opposition a different problem. And now I've realised Tomiyasu can play it if needed as the left-sided. We'll call it fullback, whatever you want to call. I mean, the only problem that gives you is there's a bloke on loan in Marseille who they've classed it now looking at as a winger because even they worked out he can't defend that well. But it's fantastic going forward. And I mean, probably the bad thing for Nuno is, although he's still very young, he'd probably be looking at that going, I could be 4th in the list, or is the 17-year-old in front of me?
Yeah, or we could get 20 million for him and say, good luck, mate. That's for another day, that one.
Yeah. Sorry,
but
Matthew.
Yeah, Tommy was
that's
superb.
right. He was absolutely brilliant. I think an easier solution to the congestion problem is stop the Premier League after when we reach the World Cup. That seems fair to me. 6 games left.
Stop it now. It seems even better.
And then after the World Cup, we'll just do Europa League. That will do.
Yeah.
Who's
the next one?
Right. I was gonna ask. You mentioned it earlier, Carl. The handball.
I think
both of you, penalty, yes or no?
Yes.
Having seen some given recently, I'd probably say yes. Having also watched us not get one at Leicester when someone stuck the arm out far more than that.
Yeah.
Burnley.
Yeah.
I've seen a few worse examples not given, but I've seen a few softer ones given. I think the previous day was softer. The Newcastle player, is it?
Oh, the Newcastle one. The only thing is he's reaching for the sky, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's reaching for the sky because it's going behind him and he's trying to jump up, and the ball's come back from behind him. At that point, I mean, that's just momentum. I actually think Gabriel's arm is out for momentum. Stephen Warnock was on Sky and he actually mentioned it because he's been moved. He's got his arms going behind his back, and the guy moves it, and he moves with it, and then the ball hits him. And the rule is, if your hand is above your shoulder, it's handball. If you're in close proximity, apparently, I didn't know this. And I looked at him and I thought, well, it's not above his shoulder. So that's what they'd looked at. The referee's not given it. It's not above his shoulder. It's actually level with his shoulder.
Correct.
And at that point, I assume that's why they didn't give it. But I'd like to see some consistency.
And it also did his chest first, chest onto which I did notice.
And I have not seen it, but one of my sons has seen it and told me about that. Because he went chest, and I thought, he's just trying to pull the wool over his eye. And if it has hit his chest first, then definitely it's not a penalty. But they should show that for the people watching, the punters at home should have been able to see that at some point. If that's what VAR's seen, then good on VAR for actually seeing that, to be fair. Because I hadn't noticed it.
On the handballs, I think that I've been someone that's played football for a long time and now refereed for a long time. There's some of the ones that get given are ridiculous, and I'd much rather almost no handballs got given whatsoever rather than all of them, and certainly rather than this some get given, some don't. And
my first assumption was it was the proximity
It was.
saved him.
Yeah. So I go back to when Mourinho first came to Chelsea, all his players used to run out and they'd have their arms up as they slid in. And they used to hit them quite often and they never used to get given. That is a penalty.
Yeah.
If you go out with your arms up and all that, I'd like, as you said, Matthew, the Dan, was it Dan Burns? Was it Dan Burns on the new guy?
Was Dan Burns.
That's not a penalty. And Gabriel's one on that basis. If they want to get rid of them ones, I'd happily get rid of them. Give the benefit of the doubt on that.
I watched two in the Man City game yesterday. One for a goal where it's Mahrez is jumping with two players and it's hits his arm and they've scored, which gets ruled out. And then a corner's come in, someone's flicked it on, it's hit someone's hand who's jumping up, and then that gets given. So it's very silly, and it's just consistency, isn't it? But they just seem to make it up as they go along.
If that would have been against us, for us, I would have been screaming for a penalty.
Yeah, definitely. But it'd be it'd get rid of the confusion if they just said, okay, if you're within a whatever sort of radius of it and it's your arm, then unless it's a deliberate act.
Deliberate handball, which it
always that always used to be the wording, didn't it, Carl?
Yeah, it was. I think it's quite easy as a VAR. It's quite easy to judge them. If you go out with your hands up, like and I'm not having a go at Chelsea, but John Terry used to do it at Chelsea all the time. He'd go out with his hands up, and he'd hit them quite often, and it'd never get given. VAR would turn that over and say that's a penalty. Yeah, because you've got your hands up, you're actually blocking with you're using your hands as a blocking device. But if you're not, as long as you're not sort of going out like that, and if you've got your hands out wide, handball. But other than that, Jesus, it's nah. Just go back to the original rule. It was a better rule.
Well,
get rid of this halfway down the arm is not handball as well, which is another stupid thing.
The fact though the ball can hit basically any part of your body and it's fine until it comes to your arm is a bit silly, isn't it? And all you're just doing normally, the ball brushes your arm and you're immediately. I mean, some of the ones you see, they go, they're checking for a VAR check. You got no idea what they're checking it for because no one's seen a handball ever, and then all of a sudden they're given a handball for something. So I'm with you, Carl, unless it's deliberate. Like the Thiago Silva one the other week that he didn't get sent off for. Then it should be.
Oh. I mean, but that you can see there's a deliberate movement when he's on the floor, I'll admit. He's deliberately flicked the ball away.
Yeah.
And the fact that they then said, what was his name? What's his name?
Ayew.
Wasn't going to score is a bit of an insult to a professional footballer.
Also, point out, he actually he handballed it twice.
Yeah.
So it's a yellow card for the first one, and a yellow card for the second one, according to the Martinelli rule from last year. No, or is it just changed again?
Clearly changed, Carl.
Changed it again.
It's changed.
But don't slag Michael Oliver off today.
No, indeed. We got absolutely. On this, he's in the bloody hoses with us a lot. So I'm not having him getting. I'm not going to give him too much credit.
Yeah, but it's just another thing that needs to be solved. In fact, that might be the biggest one. But deliberate handball and potentially. Well, no, and if someone's actually put the ball in with their hand, then you can look at it. But other than that, just
unless it's Thierry Henry,
he didn't put it in. That's fine. Yeah. Okay, so a shoddy bit of defending from Gabriel. I don't think we need to go into that too much. We'll all agree it was absolutely awful, and we got no idea what we were doing. Let's get back to 1-0, and as we say they can probably continue to play better at that point. Ødegaard gives away the free kick on the edge of the box. Last minute of added time, first half. What a bit of counter-attacking football that was. Firstly, from Gabriel Jesus to get the ball under control.
And despite somebody trying to foul him.
Yeah, which they should have absolutely done, by the way. I'd be fuming with that if I were a Liverpool fan, that he's been allowed to play that ball. Henderson looks absolutely terrified when he's got Martinelli running at him.
But he does the right thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, he was never ever going to win that. Again, maybe should have fouled him. Just take him out. But then the boys are coming forward. Trent runs over for no apparent reason. Gabriel,
it just changes the face of the mark. Gabriel, that split inside, that stop and move inside was brilliant.
But yeah, Gabriel, lovely little dummy. Saka, you're just screaming at him just to stretch your leg, Mackay, and put it in, which he does. But what a goal that was, Dad. Counter-attacking football at its best.
I've not seen how quick we went from the edge of our own penalty area to scoring a goal. I didn't see, but it was lightning. And I go back, Martinelli, he's running at someone with pace. Jesus wriggles free, and once the ball's gone to Martinelli, and it went fairly swiftly, he starts running at him. I have some sympathy with Jordan Henderson because he's tried to get back as best he could. He's trying to hold the bloke up. He's like General Custer at Little Bighorn, isn't he? Circle round, lads. Go on, Cole.
No, he's narrowed. He's trying to narrow the angle. He's trying to push him out. He's pushed him onto his left foot, which is not his strongest foot. He's done everything right, and then the other fella comes across and just helps him out, or helps Martinelli out. It was just a weird bit of defending. I'm not going to talk about him anymore. It was just a weird bit of defending, and Saka's finished very much as like a Raheem Sterling goal.
I was just about to say. Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, it was. Yard out in the right place. The difference is that Saka played well for the rest of the match, as opposed to Raheem Sterling normally does nothing for the other 89 minutes, but still contributes with the goals.
Yeah. And I think going 2-1 up, having not been the better side, probably for the first time this season. Because even in the defeat at United, I thought we were the better team.
Yep.
So I think probably that's the, I'm going to say, the moment. And they've probably gone in with their tail right up on that. When Arteta was fairly sharply down the tunnel, wasn't he?
He must have been talking to him, wasn't he? He must have been saying about getting on the front foot.
Yeah.
Because they were so much different. The midfield in particular, but not just the pressing game generally, was like it's been in the first half in most other games we've watched this season.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
I'll tell you the really interesting thing I thought after that second goal is normally when we score, especially a goal like that as well, which is sort of how we want to play and the way we want to go about things. Arteta normally he's big in the celebrations, fist bumps, hugging his mates Albert and the set piece bloke and people like that. He did a couple of claps more out of frustration than anything. Half time whistle goes, storms down the tunnel. He clearly weren't happy with how he played that first half, and whatever he said at half time obviously worked, because the second half, what you've gone from, well, it still wasn't terrible how we played in the first half, but the worst we played all season, to maybe the best we've ever played under Arteta, considering the level of the opposition and the situation of the game. I just thought the second half we were absolutely outstanding.
I agree that we was absolutely. I'm not sure it's the best we've ever played. I'm trying to, but it might be. I'm not going to dispute. I'm
I'm
not
just
discount
thinking in
that.
terms of the, as you said earlier, the psychological factor of it that we're playing against Liverpool. The fact I actually think Liverpool played quite well, and the second half was nothing to do with them playing badly. They just couldn't live with us
They
at
couldn't.
all.
No,
And
we're in a moment
they scored a very nice goal. To be
against the
fair to
run
them,
of play.
very nice,
like our
like
ones
ours was a very nicely worked goal.
was.
But I just think with the context of it, it was just absolutely brilliant how we played that second half.
I think the bit for me is we have gone 2-1 up probably against the run of play. They've equalised for a second time, and I'm telling you, a year ago, 6 months ago, Carl, I think we'd have lost that game. I don't think we'd have won it. And I think that, you've been 1-0 up, 1-0, you've gone 2-1 up, 2-2, and whether you've gone in the changing room at half time and gone, don't know how we're in front, lads, but we are. For them to equalise with the record they've had against us in recent years, I think then to play as well as we did, I think says a lot. I think, I'm happy we've won. I'm really happy we've won. You're happy, Matthew's happy. But if you look at the way we've played, having gone for them to come back and get to 2-2, but absolutely boss them is, I think, a big thing for us. And I also think it's you've beaten, whatever we all think of Tottenham, they're a decent side. They're hard to beat. You've battered them. You've then played a Thursday night game, and everyone will tell you, oh, it's hard. This Liverpool had played Tuesday against, I'm going to be honest, a poor Rangers side, and then we've played as well as that. And for me, Cole, that's the big thing. First time for ages, we've gone good performance against not the world's greatest side, and then another really good performance against. I wouldn't call us rivals to them yet.
No.
But a team that you expect, and I still expect, by the way, to be somewhere there or thereabouts at the end. They might not be near Man City, but they'll be somewhere in or around the top four. They might be having a bit of a bad run. Come the end of the season, all these people I hear nonsense. Oh, Klopp's this, Klopp that. Is it time to change? I'll tell you now, they'll be somewhere in the top four or very close to it.
Yeah, I think they probably will be as well. My favourite bit of the game, which probably takes you back, I suppose, is we decided to shut shop.
Yeah.
And against a team, this is not like the previous week where Tottenham, because the manager gave up, stuck on defensive-minded players. Klopp was still trying to get back into the game, and Liverpool were trying to get back in the game, and we basically. I'm trying to think if Ramsdale had a shot to save, and I don't remember one. It was just so well. The defence was so good, and Gabriel, who had his moment earlier on, came up with a couple of nice little blocks and moves, and the boot clear near the end was fantastic. So, but that was really nice. For the last 15 minutes, looking back on it, obviously at the time I was a nervous wreck, thinking we was going to concede, but now I can look back on it and think, that was pretty cool the way they sharp shot.
So the other one I'd mention,
there's a about 3-minute spell where there's a video of it online where you watch us knock the ball around. They get absolutely nowhere near it. We try to see if we get through. Alisson gets the ball a couple of times. They then try and work their way up the pitch. We win it back, and it's that again, that's that pep thing of win it back within 5 seconds or whatever it is. Force them to go long, win the header, start again. And there was about a period from, I think it's about 82 minutes to 87 minutes, where we were just in complete control of that game. And that, again, is for all the... We've seen the brilliant attacking play all season, but that was something that was new, because most of the games this season that we've won convincingly, whereas that one was obviously one where we decided now's the time to manage the game, and we did so well. That was just as pleasing as how well we played for the rest of the half.
And so the other one I was going to mention, who didn't seem to get a lot of a mention, but I thought had a really, really good game, was Benny Blanco again.
Yep. It was fantastic. Again. We run out of right backs in the country. He should never have been dropped from the England squad anyway. He's better than all our centre halves anyway, or most of our centre halves. I think he
needs to go and top his town up in Kuwait over the winter.
Yeah, I think he needs to go to Dubai. It's a nicer place.
Yeah, much nicer.
Yeah. I'd be happy if he didn't go, but I think he will be now. Even if Carl Walker gets fit, he's not going to be match fit by the time that starts. But you never know with Gareth Southgate, because I'm taking them too, because they've been part of my squad. Yeah, they've only got one leg, but yeah, I'll take them. But we'll see. I think he'll be going to the World Cup, but he might be picking up the bibs.
Mm.
But he was fantastic.
That is criminal, by the way. I know from a selfish point of view, we want him to have a nice rep, but he should be in the... Especially if Reece James is injured, which he went off yesterday. If he is injured, Ben White should be starting for that England team. There's not a better right back if Reece James is injured.
He's a really good centre half. He's a really good right back. And apparently he can play in midfield. Not seen that. But apparently he can play there as well as holding midfielder, which we don't need because he's got enough holding midfielders, Southgate. But that flexibility that he's got, should really... I think he will be in the squad now, but we'll see. I'm hopeful that Carl Walker recovers and the other fella, and he has a nice holiday in Dubai. But we'll see. But he was superb again, like every game this season. And I was one at the start of the season. I'm not sure about him at right back. Well, I was wrong. He's been fantastic every game. He's been an 8 out of 10 pretty much every game.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, one thing we haven't discussed yet is the penalty incident. Again, yes or no? Was it a penalty? Let's just ignore the fact that at the time we were obviously all screaming for it.
My first instinct, as you know, Matthew, was I screamed penalty. But was that me with me red glasses on? I don't know.
I'll say no. One word, no.
I'm probably with you, Cole, but I've watched week after week after week Son get less of a kick than that and get a penalty. I've watched Harry Kane get less of a kick than that and get a penalty. I've watched Salah get less than that and get a penalty. Never mind what's his rat face at Man United.
I've seen rat face foul an opposition player and could have been sent off and get a penalty. But there you go.
So again,
I agree. There is contact. I think they call it soft, and they're right. It's a soft penalty. I hate seeing them given against us, and that's what I'm basing it on. So yeah, I think it's.
I would be annoyed if it was given against us.
Yeah, 100%. It's. I think you use the term quite a lot, Carl. It's a home penalty.
Yeah.
The away team don't get hit.
No. Unless Mike Dean's referee, and he doesn't anymore. So good. Yeah, I'm glad we got it. I think it's difficult to say how the match would have gone without it. I think we may well have scored anyway because we were so much on top by then.
Well, obviously we wouldn't have then sort of held what we had. We'd have kept pushing, and we were very, very on top at that point. And yeah, they'd had a couple of lucky bounces with different blocks and interceptions. Saka putting a brilliant cross that no one could quite get a touch on. So I'm not going to say we'd definitely scored, but yeah, we'd have carried on playing how we were, and it wouldn't have surprised me at all if we'd have got a goal anyway. And to be fair, I think even though we controlled the game at 3-2. I think if we'd have pushed again, we could have scored again. So
how good was Saka in the second half?
Yeah.
Going forward, I'm talking about. I mean, it's just something we would never have been speaking about this time last season.
Flicking the ball over someone's head and hitting it on the volley.
I can't believe they didn't show that on Match of the Day. I mean, he literally flicks over and takes it on the volley. Okay, it smashes high and wide. But good grief, it was just such a lovely bit of skill. It deserved to be seen again. But there you go. Didn't show him.
No.
And so we got a penalty, whether it was or not. But what about the penalty itself from Bukayo? Stepped up, and he was probably the calmest person in the stadium.
Well, yeah, because there's been a bit of a ding dong went on in the area, wasn't there? Which has been investigated. I'm not quite sure what on earth they have thought has been said or has been said. I think, sort of, it just seems an odd one.
Yeah, we'll see if something comes out and talk about it then, maybe.
Yeah, but
no idea at the minute.
But yeah, it was a lovely penalty. He's shown him. Look, I've got a bit less room on the left. You can go to the right.
Yeah,
and he's gone, all right. Then I'll put it at the right. You can't reach it. I think it was a good penalty. All right.
It's a good penalty, and he's a good keeper. He's a big lad as well.
He is, but he ain't gonna. He's hit it hard and low, which is the way, hard and low in the corner. You can't save them.
No.
It's the way it is. It's a good penalty, very good penalty.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Taking lessons from Ainsley by keeping his heart rate down.
I don't know what it is, but that new camera angle they've got this season, where you sort of see it behind the penalty taker.
Swinging camera, I hate that thing.
Do you?
Mm.
I think it is such a good perspective on what it's actually like taking a penalty, because all the goalkeepers look absolutely massive.
Because they are.
Yeah, I know, but I just think it's a really good way of looking. You always not always, but you always think, sure, how can a professional footballer ever miss a penalty? But when you see a goalkeeper covering that much of the goal, it's not surprising. But
he's what, 6'5", is he?
He's 6'5", I think.
6'5". I mean, my first goalkeeper I remember is Bob Wilson, who was 5'11" and a half. I think they used to put it down as his height. And his backup was a local Jeff Barnett, who was noticeably shorter. So, yeah, Paul Cooper at Ipswich was about 5'10", weren't he? He was a fantastic keeper, he was. So, it's changed. They're all monsters now.
Yeah.
It's all of our goalkeepers. I mean, Hines massive. Geezer out at Crewe on loan. They all go on about
Conquay.
He's about 6'7", isn't he?
He's a big lad. I know that.
Huge.
Yeah. They are all big.
You just think all they got to do is go like that, lift out their arm. They're going to save it because they're going to cover up so much to go. If we'd have had Ajax goals, then they probably would have actually been able to cover the goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, brilliant penalty from Bukayo. Not the first sort of important one he's taken. Took the one against Chelsea last year and Man United. And, well, he'd already done it earlier in the game, but now scored against every single top 6 team, which is interesting to know. And still only 21, quite remarkable. He's always someone that sort of thrives in the big games, it seems. And yeah, scored 2 goals. I don't think anyone really talked about him after, but he was another one that he wasn't quite as good as Martinelli, but superb.
It was marvellous. It was really good. Him and the fullbacks with the 2 guys in front, it worked wonderfully well on both sides. Both of them got back, defended well. Both of them got forward and attacked well. Obviously, they got 3 goals between them. And what was it? 3 goals and 2 assists, I suppose. Well, 1 assist, I suppose. One second assist, wasn't it, for Saka? He passed it the way of the guard. He passed it to Martinelli. Yeah, good performance all round. Every single player on the pitch done their bit. I know Gabriel had some shaky moments, but no, I'm all right with that. Can't all play well all the time. And he had a great season last season. Thought he was very good. This season, he's had a few shaky moments. That'll line itself out, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's not been in the Maguire level of being bloody awful.
Yeah, great result. Superb atmosphere once again, and yeah, we go on back to the top for the time being. So we've got a couple of games this week. Obviously, we had the return game against old Bodo Glimt from Norway with their synchronised bouncing and scarf waving. Yeah, from what we saw last week, they're not going to just sit back and defend. They are going to somewhat try and come out. But yeah, another one where you expect lots of changes and the likes of Vieira to impress.
I think we played we played a squad team, but with a smattering of first teamers last week. I would hope we play less first teamers this week.
Yeah, you think with Nelson last week it was a lack of fitness, which meant he didn't get as many minutes.
Really well when he came on.
Played really well when he came on.
Bloke who's got a bit of attitude. I'd like to see Matt Smith get on. I mean, he can't just carry the bibs. It
was obviously a bit too early for Cedric, but he might start, especially. Well, we'll see what happens with what will happen at the weekend. But yeah, you expect Cedric to play. It's harsh to say he was disappointing, but I was expecting more from the Marquinhos kid. I don't think he had his best game. Maybe it was the occasion of playing for the first time at the Emirates. Almost tried too hard, but
maybe he's 19.
I'm
not going to worry about it too much.
Not at all. Hopefully he gets another run out.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get another run out. I'd like to see him and Nelson get another run out. Swap wings between them. And Nelson's got to put in a performance like he did for that last 15 or whatever, 10, whatever he was on for.
I thought Lukonga was quite good actually last week.
Yes, he was. He was. And he gets forgotten about quite easily, but he's a decent player.
And Gabriel Jesus shouldn't be allowed to play against teams like that because some of the stuff he was doing last week at about 50% effort was an absolute joke. The assist for the Vieira goal. Oh my word!
Yeah, I don't want
danced around 4 players on a tightrope and
I don't really want Gabriel, Saka, or Martinelli playing.
No,
I'd rather the 2 central midfielders didn't either.
Yeah, I'm with you, Carl.
But
I don't particularly want to see Xhaka playing again.
No, I'd rather lose in some ways. Cause we're going to go through now. I don't think I know you can come first, but made a lot of difference. Coming first, you can end up with getting the Champions League club, can't you?
Yep.
You know, so it's,
well, obviously we've got this Thursday, and then we'll have next Thursday as well as our catch-up game against PSV. So we win those two, and the PSV games at home. Then we're on 12, and we definitely have qualified at that point. Whether we'll have topped the group or not, I don't quite think. But
did the PSV drew a game?
They drew against that Bodo Glimt.
So if they've drawn and lost it, if we beat PSV and
so we're 2 points ahead of them at the minute.
So we'd be 12 points. They can't catch us then. Can they?
That's right then.
Am I right? No, I might be wrong there. No, I am wrong.
I think we need a point.
Yeah.
Which
depending
we've got that
happens.
FC Zurich at home, we'll beat them. So
depending on if they beat Zurich tomorrow night, which they should do, because Zurich they battered them the other day.
I think they're actually the worst team in the group, actually. But and at the weekend, Leeds away. Very fun away day for anyone if you get a ticket for it. But they're a team that ain't doing that well this season, but dangerous always playing away to them. And at times against Palace on, again, that was Sunday, they actually looked quite impressive, especially the first half. Don't know whether it ran out a bit of energy second half, but second half Palace absolutely controlled the game, got the goal they deserved. But yeah, it'll be a tricky one against Leeds.
Yeah, be a tough game. They're a decent team, Leeds are. Decent team, you know. Got some good players. Got a couple coming back from injury. Bamford's obviously playing now, and that can only help them. Ayling's on the bench. I think he's come back, and there's a couple of others who have come back.
There was someone suspended last weekend as well, wasn't there? That's been playing all the time. I can't remember who it is. So yeah, tricky game.
Away, it's always a noisy place as well.
Yeah.
Good crowd in that way. Good noise.
It's another one of the start quickly, get a goal, and quieten the crowd down exactly like we did against Brentford.
Yeah, and Bournemouth, is it? Bournemouth, yeah, well, we've done that too.
Yeah, I mean, their crowd's not so lively, but
That's true. They'll turn up in shorts, ready to go to the beach afterwards, don't
they? Don't knock it. You know that's where you're going.
I'm not knocking it. That's my old age pension place to go. Yeah, I'll season ticket at Bournemouth. I'll still be coming up by bloody train every game. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a hard game. Every away game's hard in reality.
Yeah,
it is. But it's another one where you expect us to win, and
well, I think do I expect us to win? I expect us to play well.
I don't expect to win anymore. Any games, but I do expect. In fact, I never have expected us to win. I do expect us to turn up. The team have got a habit of doing that. They've been good like that, certainly this season, and for the majority of last season, bar the end.
Yeah, we've gone to a couple of tricky places already, and come out with 3 points. That's what you have to hope for again. And early Sunday afternoon before City play against Liverpool, and you never know if.
Oh, we're 2 o'clock, are we?
Yeah, we're not on telly. Really annoying. It's the dodgy stream time.
You can find they'll be on my telly.
But yeah,
dodgy stream time. Exactly that. And
if Liverpool get something against City, well, might end up 3 points clear or even 4. So
yeah, but just as easy we could be behind. So I'm not even think about it again.
Yeah, we can if we win.
Nice to see Liverpool play half decent. Firmino was brilliant for him when he came on. It was a lovely goal, and I would expect him to start against see. But we'll see what they can do. But we just got to concentrate on Leeds. Leeds got a decent team.
Yep. Work
got
hard.
a few youngsters coming through. And work hard, which was from the previous manager more so than this one. But yeah.
And Billy Bremner can still cut a game out.
Well, he could do if you weren't 6 feet under, but you know.
Can't be that many of that team left.
No, there's not, is there? No, they've been a bit unlucky in that way.
Just pull out a clip, Matthew. Norman Hunter at his finest.
Oh, they'd end up showing the fight with Francis Lee. They would show that. They weren't Norman Hunter at his feet. Norman Hunter was a really good player. All of their players could play, but they all like to mix it as well. Oh boy, could they mix it.
Very quickly, same team against Leeds. Obviously, we're not sure about Zinchenko, how injured he is, but rest of it the same, or do you go Tierney at left back?
Excluding left back, which I have no idea. I don't think I'd change anyone. But you know, I mean, that left back, he might play Reece Nelson there the next week. Who knows? You know, you just sort of, it's just such a left field decision. It was just yeah. So if Zinchenko's not fit, you assume Tomiyasu is going to stay there, unless he fancies giving one of the players a breather, and that would be probably Ben White. But I think he's been quite careful in Ben White's minutes. Ben White's never played. I don't think he's played 90 this season until the other day. Did he play the 40? Yeah, he did play 490, didn't he? He's always been the one we need to give 10 minutes to Tommy, and so he's given way. So,
yeah, I mean, I still think it's a stupid rule having 5 subs, but it's really handy, isn't it? Just being able to bring on some quality players for.
We have got a strong bench compared to last year. It is noticeable how strong our bench is, even when we've got Nweri on there, or Marquinhos. The bench is strong, and there's still players out injured. So yeah, it is. I mean, Eddie's looking good. He's come on.
I was going to say for you, Dad, you'll want a nice 2-3 goal lead, and then Jesus off after an hour.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
That would be perfect, Matthew. 3 up, hour gone. Jesus, take him off.
Who are you bringing on? No one. We're going to play with 10 men. What the heck?
Yeah. And now, in fairness, Cole, I feel a bit. I'm going to say I feel sorry for Eddie.
I do.
I thought he had a really good end to last season and probably deserved his contract. Yeah?
Yep.
He obviously knew, I'm assuming, Arteta had told him, you're not going to be the only one we got.
Yeah.
You've got a chance. You can fight for your place. I thought he had a decent game last Thursday. I mean, his finish is such an Eddie finish. Shot clatters off the post.
Really good finish.
I didn't, obviously, me and Matthew were at the game, so I didn't see what was said on the telly. I'll tell you what, that was a good finish, because that's coming back at pace as you're running forward.
It's the most Eddie goal you're ever likely to see.
It's an Eddie goal. But you look at it, he cut a good shift in the game. I thought he had a good game.
Yep, agree.
He's probably deserving of more minutes than he's had. It must be very frustrating sitting there watching Jesus playing as well as he's playing. Thinking
he had a great pre-season as well.
Yeah, he did.
Had a really good pre-season, but so did Gabriel, and it is the way it is at the moment. There might be a dip from Gabriel, a slight niggle, and they think, well, we'll start him on the bench and start with Eddie. There'll be things that happen. Eddie's up there at the moment. He's doing all right for us.
Yeah.
We've got a third choice striker back now. In Kalen Edwards, he's finally come back from injury, so we've got 3 out and out strikers, if you like. Because the reserves didn't have an out and out striker for the rest of the games, have they? Because
No.
all been out on loan. Bireth, who scored 2 the other day, I noticed.
Yeah.
Still,
And young Mr. Balogun, who keeps getting very good reviews.
yeah, did they drew with PSG, didn't they?
They
They
did.
did.
PSG went down to 10 men quite early.
Which makes a change because Reims normally play with
Normally
10
go
men
down to 10 men, yeah.
Every game they play with 10 men. And a lot of the time it's his sidekick up front who gets sent
Yeah.
off. I think he's had 2 sending offs this season. But there you go. Yeah, it's 2 good games to come. Yeah, and we'll need these players on the bench. We've got faith in Vieira now after the goal the other week and the way he played, to be fair, against Bowen Glim. And some of the other players we've got some faith in. So it's great. Good
And funny
squad
enough,
at the moment.
you talk to players on loan. Patino got another rave review
Yeah, he's
against
playing well.
Watford.
I'm looking forward
Watford,
to,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to Donkey Bob playing
Austin
Preston.
Trusty, he scored twice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was a surprise. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Donkey Bob playing Preston. Well,
Harry Clark's come back from injury as well, and he scored midweek against.
He didn't come.
Can't remember who.
He came on the last about
against?
5 minutes the other day, didn't he? But he's looked good wherever he's been out on loan. He's looked good.
Yeah.
It's only that injury he's out the first team. All the ones out on loan generally are impressive. Kirk's playing too low a level in Scottish League One Championship, whatever it's called. Okonkwo's doing really well out of Crew.
Yeah.
Norton Cuffy.
Norton Cuffy's always going to do good because he's a good player. I think that's a given now that he's going to. It's him and Patino is going to be interesting because they're obviously playing at championship level at 18 years of age.
Yep.
That's quite an achievement. It'll be interesting to see if they come back next season as part of the first team squad, or they send them out on loan again. And at what level do you send them out then?
But wherever you send them, they've got to play, Carl. I don't see the point in sending them. I don't know. I'm just picking a name at random. You loan someone to Wolves or someone who might be. And
Not if they're a striker, that's for sure.
No, but the chances are, Matthew, they're not going to play. Well, if they're going to sit on the bench, they might as well sit on our bench. Then, don't know. Could be wrong.
We've got a relationship
with
with Reims
Carl
now, so it might be there or something like that. If we was going to chuck them out on loan, it might be to a French club.
Yeah.
Marseille, we like a bit of Marseille. They're basically our B team anyway. So if we get them in the Champions League next year, they ain't going to be able to play most of their players. Come for us. But yeah, another very, very good week, and we're just gonna, as we said last week, ride the wave and keep enjoying it, and hopefully we keep enjoying it on a dodgy stream on Sunday afternoon and have a bit of fun on Thursday. We love a bit of it's early evening Europa action as well, 5:45 kickoff. But
there is a pub on the way back to the hotel tomorrow night that has been football. I've checked it. I'll be in there to watch it.
Lovely stuff. But yeah, that is going to do it for us today. That's a brilliant win, and we keep going on, and hopefully next week we'll have another 2 victories to talk about. But thank you both very much for joining me. Thank you all for listening, and we will be back next week. But until then, it's goodbye.